Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's talk today about setting up DLSS Ultra Quality Mode in Microsoft Flight Simulator the easy way. Now there are some videos on YouTube showing you how to do this that use NVIDIA Profile Inspector, and that is a legitimate way of doing this. It's just a much more complicated way of doing this, and there's really only one difference, and that difference is completely insignificant. So let's do this the easy way. Now, the first question is, what is DLSS? DLSS is Deep Learning Super Sampling. What DLSS does is downscales the image that you have in Microsoft Flight Simulator and then stretches that image to fit the size of your screen, of your monitor. Now, what's the purpose of that? Well, the purpose is if you downscale an image, it makes it less taxing on your computer hardware to render. Okay, so for example, ultra performance mode. Now, the standard ultra performance mode in DLSS downscales the image to 0.33 of the original, which means it downscales the image by 2/3 and then stretches the image to fit your screen. Now, when you do that, obviously you're not, you've downscaled the image so much that the performance is going to be much better, but the image quality is going to suffer. So that's the downside of this downscaling. The different levels of DLSS downscale differently. Ultra performance is 0.33. Performance is 0.5, which is a 50% downscale. Balanced is 0.58 and quality is 0.67. Now we do not have an ultra quality setting in Microsoft Flight Simulator. 0.67 downloads the image, so the quality setting for DLSS and DX12 downscales the image by a full third. That's a pretty big downscale. Ultra quality downscales it 0.77. So that's the difference. So these names, ultra performance, performance, balanced, quality, don't mean anything. All it is the name that NVIDIA has given for the level of downscaling that they're using. These downscale levels can be changed, and that's what we're going to do. Now, DLAA is 1.0. There's no scaling at all. So if there's no scaling at all, what's the point? Well, the DL portion of DLSS is deep learning. That's NVIDIA's AI technology. That's their proprietary AI technology. So we have no way of quantifying how strongly the deep learning affects each of these levels. It presumably affects them all the same. We don't know. Um, but the one thing we can quantify is how much the image is downscaled. Okay. So what we're going to do is so if you downscale the image 2/3, the quality is going to be pretty poor. Now, for most people in Microsoft Flight Simulator, the DLSS quality setting is already bad enough in terms of the visual. So the idea that somebody's going to downscale it rather than 0.67, downscale it all the way down to 0.33, 1/3 of the original image in Microsoft Flight Simulator, nobody's going to do it. Nobody is using DLSS Ultra Performance in Microsoft Flight Simulator, so there's no reason to have it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Ultra Performance and we're going to set the scaling for Ultra Performance at the level that performance is. We're going to scale performance at the level that balanced usually is, and we're going to scale balanced at the level that quality usually is, and then we're going to set quality to the ultra quality scaling. So basically, we're just going to step it down one level for each DLSS preset. Okay? Now, we're going to need three things to do this. Okay? The first thing we're going to need is DLSS Swapper. because we need a specific DLSS file to make this work. The second thing we need is something called DLSS tweaks, which you get here. DLSS swapper, you just come over here to releases, v1.0.5.0, click on that, download the version, you click there, and you see the installer right here. Just download that and install it. DLSS tweaks, this again under releases here, you click that, and you come all the way down here, and it's going to, oh, I apologize. We're going to need to switch over to, let me see here. There we are. So you click on this, and then you click here on the Nexus Mods link. I'll put these links in the description, okay? And this is what you're going to get. This is DLSS tweaks. The upload date is September 28th. And you just click manual download, and it's going to download for you. It's very, very easy. I just skip this endorsement reminder, and then click on slow download, and you get the files, okay? And then the last thing we need, which is also on Nexus Mods, is the Frame Gen mod. If we want to use it, you do not have to use the Frame Gen mod with the DLSS ultra quality setting. You can if you want to, you don't have to. So what you would do is, rather than this DLSS G to FSR 3 0.90, we need the second one in the list here, which is the DLSS Tweaks edition. Okay, because we're going to be using DLSS Tweaks. So the first thing is first, we are going to have to find our content folder. Now, this is in your C drive, XboxGames, Microsoft Flight Simulator, content. I've mentioned before, for whatever reason, I have 2 Microsoft Flight Simulator installs. I don't know why. You should only have one. Go into the content folder, and you will see your Flight Simulator.exe file. Now that tells you you're in the right place. If you have the Frame Gen mod installed, you will have these 2 files, okay? And we need to delete these 2 files because we have to uninstall the version of Frame Gen that you have installed, because we're going to be using the DLSS tweaks version. So all you do, just delete those 2 files. Hopefully you have a backup. So what I have a Frame Gen folder. This is the universal download. That's the DLL version that we use when we're not using DLSS tweaks. So this is the version that you will have in there. But you should have a backup of those files, okay? And then what I have here is the DLSS tweaks edition of the Frame Gen mod. Now we'll come back to that in a second, okay? This is DLSS tweaks, okay? This is what you're going to get when you open DLSS tweaks. So the next step here, we have to go into DLSS Swapper. If you don't have it installed, download it, install it, open it, and you should have Microsoft Flight Simulator 3.5.10 if you have updated your version to the latest version. If your version is the one that comes with Flight Simulator, or if it's the one they're constantly downgrading you to, it's, I believe, 2.4.12. In any event, what you want to do, click on the library icon over here. The version that we want is 3.1.30. Now, I already have this downloaded, as you can see with this sideways arrow here and the delete button. If you don't have it downloaded, it will have this download button. You simply click on that to download version 3.1.30. Once you've done that, come here to the games, click on Microsoft Flight Simulator, highlight version 3.1.30, and click swap. Now you've got version 3.1.30. Now, it might work, this whole process might work with 3.5.1. It's been a little hit and miss for me. The instructions state clearly that 3.1.3 will work, so that's what we're going to go with. Okay. Now you've updated your DLSS file. Now what we're going to do is install DLSS tweaks. So these are when you unzip the download, this is what you're going to see. If you recall, prior to version 0.8, I believe, of the Frame Gen mod, we had to do this registry tweak, this enable NVIDIA SIG override registry tweak. We don't have to do that with version 0.9, but for the DLSS quality process that we're going to do here, we need this again to install DLSS tweaks. So what you're going to do is right-click on Enable NVIDIA SIG Override and click Merge. Okay, I've already done it, so I'm not going to do it again, but that's what you're going to have to do. Okay, and then what we are going to do, minimize that window, and you are going to take 3 files and drag them into your Microsoft Flight Simulator content folder. You want this nvngx.dll, you want this DLSS tweaks.ini, and you want this DLSS tweaks config file. Those 3, 1, 2, 3. Drag those into your content folder. Okay? So I'll do that now. I'm going to drag these 2, drop them, take this one, drop it in there. Okay. Now we've got these installed, or in the folder. So now double click on the DLSS tweaks config.exe file, click run. Okay. And then open this file up. Now, I showed you the scales before. I'm going to go through those real quick. So ultra performance normally is downscaled to 0.33. We're going to downscale it to 0.5, which is what the normal performance downscale is. We're going to downscale performance to 0.58, which is the standard downscale for balanced. We're going to downscale the balanced to 0.67, which is the standard downscale for quality. And then we're going to change the quality downscale to 0.77. Okay? 0.77 is the ultra quality setting. So what you're going to get in the end, you're still going to have these 4 names. You're just going to have to remember that they're all stepped up. 1, that this is ultra quality, not quality. This is quality, not balanced. This is balanced, not performance. And this is performance, not ultra performance. That's the only difference in this process and the process using NVIDIA Profile Inspector. So we're going to come into this DLSS tweaks folder, or file rather. You're going to double click on this force DLAA, change it from false to true. This will be overridden by something else we do later, but it's a good idea to have this set that way. Okay. And then what we're going to do, you can see here, actually the first thing we're going to do, enable, where it says false, we're going to click on true. So now we have enabled the DLSS quality levels in the sim that we set here. So what we're going to do, click in Ultra Performance and simply type over that with 0.5, which is, as you can see, the normal performance setting. For performance, click in there and enter 0.58. For balanced, you can just put 6.7. It's 6.66667, as you can see. I just put 0.67. And then for quality, put 0.77. Okay? Now that is the new scaling levels that we're going to have in the sim. Now these DLSS presets, I'm not going to explain them. There's no point. For DLAA, you want preset F. For ultra performance, performance, and balance, you want preset D for each of these. So D, whoops, I overwrote the wrong one. There's for DLAA, you want F. For ultra performance, you want D. For performance, you want D. For balance, you want D. And for quality, you want F. Okay, that's all we need. Everything else can stay the same. So there we go. So what you're going to do now is click Save. Okay, and then we can close out of the program, come down, and start Microsoft Flight Simulator. Okay, here we are in the sim. We're going to come over here to Options. We're going to go in General Options. We're going to turn on Dev Mode because we want to be able to check our screen resolution. Then we're going to come up here to Graphics. You want to be in DX12, so you may have, if you're using DX11, you're going to have to set it to DX12, restart the sim, and then come back in here so that you have access to NVIDIA DLSS Super Resolution. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select Ultra Performance. Now remember, Ultra Performance now has the downscaling, the standard downscaling that Performance used to have. So this is now our performance setting, right? And it is a downscale of 0.5. That makes the math easy. It's 50%. Then we're going to hit Apply and Save. Go back, go back, go into the world map. I'm going to pick San Juan because that's just the last airport I was at. Set as departure and fly. Okay, here we are in San Juan. Click Ready to Fly. I can already see that the image is downscaled. But what we're going to want to do is come here to Debug and Display FPS. Now up here in the corner, you can't see this because it's going to be way too small. But there's going to be 3 listings of resolutions. Now they're partially written over by this yellow scroll, whatever it is, but they are screen, post, and render. Now screen is your screen resolution. Mine is 2560 by 1440 because I'm in 2K. So that's what my screen resolution is. Under render, what I see is 1280 by 720, which is half of my screen resolution of 2560 by 1440. Where does that half come from? It comes from right here. We have now downscaled the image 50%. So now we know that the DLSS tweaks mod that we have done is working. So that's how you check it. If for whatever reason your render is the same as your screen resolution, that means something has gone wrong and your DLSS tweaks setting is not working. Just go back, go through what we did up until now. Hopefully it'll get squared away for you. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit Microsoft Flight Simulator and we're going to install the Frame Gen mod. If you were not using the Frame Gen mod and you don't want to use the Frame Gen mod or can't use the Frame Gen mod, it doesn't work for some people, you are done. You don't have to do anything else. If you are going to use the Frame Gen mod, if you do want to use the Frame Gen mod, stick around. I'll show you in 2 minutes how we do that. It's actually not going to be 2 minutes, it's going to be 2 seconds because I'm going to use my supreme video editing skills. All right, so we shall be right back. Okay, we are now back. Now we're going to go into this Frame Gen DLSS Tweaks Edition download that we did earlier. You've got the zip file. Just click extract all, however you want to do it. And what we want to do is take these two files, these two DLL files, and drag them into your Microsoft Flight Simulator content folder. Now, if you had an issue with the install of the DLSS tweaks, this DLSS tweaks log may be helpful to you in figuring out what went wrong. So be aware of that. Now, these two files here, okay, those are the FrameGen files. Just drag them right in there. And then what we want to do, this DLSS tweaks.ini file, and double click that and open it, okay? And what we want to do is right here, DLL path overrides, okay? This is the section that we're looking for. We want to come down to the last line in that section. You can see here, hopefully well enough, this C users, username, desktop, etc., 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 file location, delete it. We're going to replace that. Now, what we're going to replace it with is the location of your content folder, and then a file inside that. So, I don't know if it's the same in Windows 10, but in Windows 11 they try to be coy and put this in your address bar. So just click in the address bar, click Control A and Control C, and that will select and copy this address. Or you can simply just select the whole thing, right click and copy. Come back over here, back to this DLL path overrides. I'm never going to be able to say that apparently. And just paste it in. So now I've got the location of my content folder. Now I want to add one backslash like that. I'm going to add one backslash just like the ones that are already in this file path. Okay. Then we're going to come back to the content folder and I'm going to, this file right here, the DLSSG underscore DLSS tweaks underscore wrapper.dll. Okay. Now you're just going to want to copy that file name. So if you right click the file, first just click on it. Well, you can do it one of two ways. Click on it once to highlight it, then right click it, select rename, and then select the entire file name, right click it, copy, and then come over here after the slash, after the backslash, paste it in. Okay? You can just do right click and paste if you want to. I use the Control A, Control C, Control V. And so what the result is going to be is you are now going to have this C XboxGames, your Microsoft content location, and then the name of this DLL file right there, okay, in this line. Now, at the beginning of this line, there is a semicolon. Delete the semicolon. We want the semicolon gone. File, save, close. Okay? Now we should be good to go. So let's load Microsoft Flight Simulator again, and we'll see how we did. Okay, here we are back in Microsoft Flight Simulator. We are still in dev mode. We're going to need that. Just to check again, come over here to Options, General Options, and voila, NVIDIA DLSS Frame Generation. If it's not on, just select it on. I'm going to leave this on Ultra Performance. Remember that is now Performance. Just for the sake of checking our resolution one more time. Come here, we will go to San Juan, and you can see this. The map was all jittery because FrameGen is enabled. The FrameGen mod is enabled. We're going to select our departure point and load. Okay, here we are in San Juan once again. And select Debug, Display FPS. And once again, it's going to show screen 2560 by 1440. Render is 1280 by 720. That means we've got the correct render, that 50% render, that 0.5 downscale. And if you see, as I move the window around with my mouse, the menus are jittering, which means we are using the Frame Gen mod. Now it shouldn't be a big wonder that things are really smooth because I'm downscaled 50%, but the Frame Gen mod is working. We have our scaling options. So now what we can do is go into General Options, and DLAA, we have not changed that. That is still the same as the original DLAA is in the sim. Quality is now the ultra quality setting, 0.77. Balanced is now the standard quality setting of 0.67. Performance is now the standard balanced setting of 0.58. And ultra performance is now the standard performance value of 0.5. So effectively what we've done is just skipped a level each, skipped one level in each direction, okay? And ultra performance has been eliminated. Now, if you go through the other process for setting this up in NVIDIA Profile Inspector, you will have a selectable option of DLSS Ultra Quality. It will say Ultra Quality. That's the only difference. You just have to remember that quality is now Ultra Quality, etc. I'm confident you guys are smart enough to be able to do that. Now, the other cool thing about how we've done this is, I mentioned earlier, these ultra performance, performance, balanced, quality, ultra quality don't mean anything. You can set them to whatever you want the way we have this set up now. You just simply go into this DLSS tweaks config file, open it. You shouldn't change them while you're running the sim. Don't do this. I just don't want to waste your time. But now we've got these scales, right? So balanced is now what quality used to be, okay? If you have the performance headroom where quality, which is now ultra quality, is working very well for you, you don't have to leave it at 0.77. You can set it to 0.8. You can set it to 0.85. There are people that are using 0.9, which is a 90%, which is a 10% downscale, right? So you can set this to whatever you want. These words don't really mean anything. It's just what NVIDIA calls them, okay? So do whatever you want with it. Be aware that you can set these to whatever you want. If you want to even get rid of the performance setting because that's not going to work for you, you can set ultra performance to 0.58, performance to 0.67, balance to 0.77, and quality to 0.9. That will step them down another level. Whatever you want to do, that's the beauty of this. Just hit save when you're done. I'm not going to do that. No, I do not want to save those things while I have the sim open. And that's it. Um, for anybody who saw, I did a stream yesterday. I got 2 crashes. I'm in the beta. There's a litany of crashes going on right now in the beta. It's clearly has to do with the beta. If I'm going to continue to get crashes in the beta, I'm going to leave the beta because my purpose really anymore is not to give you guys preview versions of what the beta looks like, but rather do things like this, which require the ability to use the sim with consistency. So that's that. If you guys have any questions, please put them in the comment section. I will set chapters in the bottom of the video so you can go back to specific sections that you need to review if you have to review them. I will put all the links that you need to do this in the description of the video. Please, 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 you have to follow this in order as it is done, as I did it here. If you do it out of order, it is not going to work. Ask me how I know. I spent 2 days figuring this out. So, any questions, I'll be glad to answer them if I can. I wish you guys the best with this. The easy way to set up DLSS Ultra Quality in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and we'll see you soon.